who's an administrator to get
Yeah,
that
and
turned
I
on for
mean,
you?
I'm an admin too, and I looked through it. It wasn't super clear how to do that. Let me
Now, do you have access to host controls down in that lower right hand,
let
that
me
padlock?
see, where did that go? No, I do not think so. No, not anything on the bottom of the screen. Let's see, where did that other thing go here? So it is your account that is hosting the meeting, right? Or the meeting invite was sent from your account, right? I think.
Well, the W0TX calendar.
Okay.
But I'm no longer using, the authorities account. I'm using
Right, ours. Yeah.
W0TX's account.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at it earlier. I couldn't really figure out how to add other hosts or add co-hosts. Let me. Ooh, what did that? Oh, okay. Do you have an option to add co-hosts somehow? Let's see.
Yeah, I'm fiddling around here. I'll
And it's no
research that and
problem.
see.
Yeah, no big deal. No big deal. Okay. Well, all right. Let's see who we have here so far this evening. Let's see. Half a dozen or so people here. Appreciate everyone being here. Yeah. Welcome to this evening's Elmer session. It's just a general Q&A about ham radio, STEM topics. I'm sharing my screen, so you should be able to see what I'm presenting. I have plenty of stuff for this evening's net, or this evening's Elmer session. It's an hour long, no check-ins needed, not a net, no ham radio license needed. As always, W0TX.org/ or just on our website for more info. This Elmer session, as well as our meeting, is streaming on youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. So if you want to watch it on your smartphone or smart TV live or after the fact, it is there. Yeah, I have a few things I can bring up, but yeah, this is just a general Q&A about ham radio and everything that this hobby covers. So there's just a few of us now, but if anybody has any comments, questions, let me know. Otherwise, I can bring a few things up here. Probably start to kick it off by discussing our last learning net, kind of very similar to this evening's net, or excuse me, this evening's meeting. Just a general Q&A about ham radio, but it held in net form. So I've gone ahead and started to post some timestamps. Hopefully at some point there'll be some chaptering within in the YouTube app. But for now, you can go ahead and just click on the timestamps, and it'll automatically take you to the appropriate time. So last week, the 13th, we talked about A0JK Fred here on this meeting. He talked about an Ask Dave article in the recent QST, long wires, transmission lines, novice bands. So we looked at that a little bit. We talked about VE testing coming up at our Hamfest. our website, W0TX.org/volunteer and/or/hamfest. You can find more information on opportunities to volunteer if you'd like. What was brought up was VE testing. We were a little bit concerned we didn't have enough VEs to help with that. So we have a couple of spots filled. So hopefully we have enough VEs to justify that that examination session. August 28th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can click right on the volunteer opportunities right here. So meal service and prep, vendor check-in, public admission, all sorts of few things here. Adams County Fairgrounds, hourly door prizes, admission is $6. Vendors tables are $13, $20 at the door. You can purchase anything online, whether it be a general admission ticket or table purchase. So it's one of our bigger revenue generating events. So in fact, I think it's our only revenue generating event. I don't think we charge any money for anything else that we provide. So talked about that. K0LAI, he brought up soliciting anybody who'd like to present anything to this group at the meeting here, our monthly meeting, 7 p.m. So if you know somebody, or if you have something, information to give to us, or meeting to give, a topic, or whatever it may be, or suggestions, K0LAI@arl.net to get in contact with him. It doesn't always have to be 60 minutes. If we can compile 3 or 4 15-minute long ones, that would suffice as well. So, yeah, let us know on that. K0LAI@arl.net. Yeah, everyone welcome. Let's see here. Still the same few people here. It looks like somebody else has joined. Good evening, everyone. If anybody has any questions, comments, let us know. Otherwise, I might keep bringing a few things up here. All right. Let me make sure my... is working. Okay. CK0. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, Fred, go ahead, please.
Yeah.
We'll throw it over to
I was going to
Fred.
say, we got several other items here that we discussed last time. Somebody brought up the subject of remote ham radio and how you could use a remote station from your apartment or your limited access home QTH. I thought was rather interesting that they brought that up, a great resource. Then we have one individual that's really into the satellites. So we discussed antennas for tracking satellites and of course, Heavens Above website for getting the times of flybys. But we discussed the homebrew construction of a satellite tracking antenna if you didn't want to shell out the dollars there for a commercially made antenna. But the commercial ones there by Arrow are excellent antennas. I've gotten one here in the shack, and so well worth the dollars they're spent to buy one from them. And they are up in Wyoming, so it's made here in the U.S. of A. And let's see. Also, yes, for those who are interested and want a little bit more information on how to set up and track the satellites or talk to the space station, you might check out K7AGE's website. He's got a couple of excellent ones there on how to use the satellite antenna. You've got your Doppler effect you have to take into consideration. He discusses that. So those topics came up, and I believe we'll probably be hearing more from him in the future here because he really sounded like he was wound up there getting active in that regard. And let's see. Also, I happened to stumble on to a website uh, put out by MIT, and it's one of their professors discussing ionic ionosphere shortwave radio and propagation. So watch for your upcoming uh, roundtable issue there. I've got the website listed there. He does an excellent job, but you have to go through the first 4 minutes of it or so. That's got got a little bit unorganized, but once they turned it over to him, he is an excellent presentationer and had a full overhead slides and whatnot to emphasize the topic. But anyhow, that's about what I've got here so far on the list for our upcoming newsletter. So back to you, Daron. AA0JK.
All right, thanks there, Fred. Yeah, appreciate that, all that information there. Yeah, that was, he sent it via email to me, but it's over on our YouTube or our Facebook, facebook.com/Denver Radio Club with one R on the community tab. It's actually Ed Reed. It's not this question in particular, but Ed Reed. He was the one who was pretty interested in satellite operations. I know people have spoken about that in the past from our club, so you can get in contact with him either via Facebook or I think he's has a good contact information on QRZ as well. So yeah, he also posted another question about antenna grounding there. So yeah, feel free to get in contact with him. It's awesome to see that. All right, this is K1DBC. Appreciate everyone being here. I'll throw it out to the group. Any other comments, questions, anything else so far for this evening's meeting? Go ahead. This was the other product you had mentioned, remotehamradio.com. Yeah, if you're restricted to a HOA or covenant controlled, or for whatever reason, these also have pretty good contesting stations as well. So there is a monthly subscription to it or yearly subscription, and a possibility for a youth free license here. So pretty cool stuff there. Yeah, really cool stuff. It's just showing a article here by our own A0JK Fred from January 2019 QST article. Let me put this in the Google Meet chat here, because an interesting thing, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but you don't actually need a login to view QST or any of their publications. I really only got this link by just sharing it, clicking on the share button up here, and it gave me an email, and then I got this link. So anyone apparently can log into this, which is kind of weird, or not even log in. So this was arl.org/news. Recent article here in terms of highlighting EAA AirVenture in Oshkosh. Saw a lot of aviation overlaps with ham radio, which is awesome to see. And I saw Fred's name, A0JK, and call sign there. So quote to Fred here: kinship among the aviation and amateur radio communities. Or that's Interbitson said. In addition to introducing newcomers to ham radio, we expect to meet hundreds of ham pilots at AirVenture. Great opportunity to show off ham radio at such a large-scale event. So this was from an article in January 2019 of QST. So I put the link in the Google Meet chat there. So yeah, pretty cool stuff here. Let's see if I can bring this back up here.
Yeah, just an additional comment.
Go ahead.
The event, the EAA's event this year is going to grow, be considerably larger. The ARRL is really stepped up, and there's an area there on the field that they call KidVenture. In the past, the local radio club has always set up a old weather station old weather building that they had brought into the airfield that used to be used for bringing updated weather to the pilots, and they converted it to a ham shack. There's the KidVenture, Sarah, right there. Yes, and they've expanded that here to where you see here where the KidVenture is going on here, to where they are introducing the younger folks to ham radio, and all facets of aviation there. So the ARRL has really gotten into it this year and going to be working with the younger people there, introducing them to all the aspects there of radio communication. So it looks like they've got a pretty nice upcoming event there. And it'll be interesting to see how Bob NQ1R will be out from the ARRL. They're overseeing that, and he's really charged up there, and looking forward to working with the younger folks there and making a hit there for the ham radio community. Back to you, Aaron, AA0JK.
All right, perfect. NQ1R Bob Interbitson there. Awesome. Yeah, glad to hear that. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of overlaps, and it's sad to see some of the. We've used to have these things called maker fairs where people used to just come in and kind of introduce youth into a lot of the maker community and building things and things like that. Unfortunately, it's kind of gone by the wayside a little bit. So it's nice to see ARRL stepping in here. It's such a key event. Because I'm sure, these youth are at their prime age to soak up a lot of knowledge. So that is awesome to hear. So yeah, we'd love to hear any reports from that. If anybody has goes to EAA AirVenture, let's see. I'm sure it was probably on the ARRL news thing here. July 25th through the 31st in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. More than 10,000 aircraft, 500,000 flight enthusiasts make Whittam Regional Airport the busiest airfield during AirVenture. So, really awesome to see that. ARL Director PR and Innovation, Bob Interbitson, NQ1R, has organized a booth, 2152 at Hangar B, all volunteer organization team there. So, highlight for children attending AirVenture. Kids can build and take a home a radio receiver to listen to air traffic and other nearby transmissions from approximately 65 to 140 megahertz. Kit designed by student engineer Levi Zima, KN4YHS, with additional support from his sister, Kirsten Zima, KC9RWG. Have been offering this kit since 2021. So I think we talked about this kit, in fact. We have, so this is awesome. Just a nice little youth, anybody, if you just want to get any introduction into soldering, little kits like these are really invaluable. $15, this will take another, just take like 30, 45 minutes, an hour or so, but it's such a really good introduction into soldering and electronics. So, radio communications, key part of learning about avionics. Recent news article here, amateur radio to be showcased at 2022 EA AirVenture in Oshkosh. So, awesome to see that. Put a link in the chat for that. Just a dozen or so people here. Good evening, everyone, to the Denver Radio Club Learning or Elmer session. Just a general Q&A about ham radio STEM topics, all sorts of stuff. So, if anybody has any comments, questions, anything you'd like to bring up, let us know. Otherwise, I can keep bringing up stuff that I found over the last week, or all sorts of interesting things. We're looking at our Discord server. If you've ever used chat rooms back in the day, this is just a more advanced chat room. So the Denver Radio Club does have one. It is quite active here recently, which is awesome to see. So really cool photos here of people at work, club members, people reporting their situations and their different things there. So check that out right on our website, W0TX.org. Under social media, you'll see a Discord option. So a lot of activity there, a lot of questions. So check things out. Guess I can post a link to that in the chat as well. Ask any questions if you want in the Google Meet chat, or if you want to jump into the audio, don't hesitate to do so either. What else to finish off that last learning net from the 13th? Yeah, there was some reports of propagation. Somebody had made a suggestion as we were talking about a meeting suggestion topic, talking about intro to HF radios, operations etiquette, something like that. Talking about website updates, as we talked about /volunteer. You'll see it is these, you can expand and collapse. There's a lot of opportunities here. Hamfest, net control, VE testing, website, social media, field day, parade testing, siren tests. So the ones at the bottom, more for next year. But website, social media, as you can see, we're doing quite a lot. And I'm looking for some assistance. So if you can help out with to administrate or moderate our website or social media, let us know. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, WebPress, Instagram, etc. Website admin, W0TX.org. VE testing, get in contact with Tom Kaczowski. Again, we have VE testing up at the upcoming Hamfest here, so sign up for that. Another section in here is net control. In the past, we've solicited for net control, and I want to pick that back up again. So this is more specifically for the Wednesday night learning net, kind of the companion net to this Elmer session here. So 7:30 p.m. on the air, 145.490. I can help you out as much or as little as you need. So sign up for a slot if you want, because it's been a while since I've had a Wednesday off, but not a problem to carry on. So a lot of opportunities here for volunteering. All right. Let's see, we have another 40 minutes. Haven't really even introduced this evening's meeting. At 7 p.m., John Portune, who was on this meet here, he's going to be presenting a W6NBC call sign, efficient magnetic loop antennas. So mag loops are very popular, but very few are optimized for size, shape, performance, cost, building material, or neighbor and or HOA appeal. Presentation critically but briefly examines all the factors that make up an optimized mag loop and also presents an example of a low-cost optimized PVC and foil tape loop for the largest majority of hams. So 40 minutes, same Google Meet you're on here now, or youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. Both this Elmer session and that meeting are streaming on there live and will be available after the fact. Let's see. Let us know if you have any questions. I'm just going to keep bringing things up just to keep dead air. Yeah, keep from having any dead air here. Facebook.com was a little bit disorganized when I set it up originally, and I apologize about that. But I couldn't really find when people are asking questions. But yeah, right on our community tab, Facebook.com/Denver Radio Club with one R. You'll automatically see some listings of meetings and things on our front page there. And then community is, I guess, where I'll need to test it some more, but I guess if you follow our page and or comment on our page, this is where we'll go. So I have a couple things in here. Yeah, Ed Reed, as we were talking about before, he had a grounding question in here. And then KI4WIN from our Discord server, Daniel. He had he's starting to put together a Google Calendar for our net listing. So let me see if this will come up here. Yes, yeah, it is a little bit busy, so that's why we don't necessarily have it advertised just yet. But if you have a want to understand when those meetings are taking place, he has a link on there, and I'll need to put that on our webpage as well. So cool stuff seeing there. So yeah, always appreciate anybody's efforts. Recent website updates, again, on our history page. Pretty cool stuff here. Finding an article from this 1916 PDF of the electrical experimenter some information about our club a little bit. As we've talked about, the Mountain States radio station in Denver was the forerunner of the Denver Radio Club, first election in 1917. So this is just a clip of an article here from this magazine. Let's see, page 43, I think. Just talking about who we are. Radio Club, under the name of the Mountain States Radio Association, has been organized at Denver, Colorado for the purpose of promoting radio communications among the amateurs of the Rocky Mountain region. 2 meetings have been held, and the following officers are elected. Communication with other clubs are invited. Secretary at 1523 South Ogden. So we are always trying to get more of our history back. If you do read our page, 1959, those officers, Donald Clark and Walt Reed. I don't think Walter Reed of Walter Reed Hospital, but they prepared a club history covering period prior to World War II through the war years and into war rejuvenation. But records of history were lost in the 65 flood when print shop materials went down the South Platte River. So anything we can do to get more information about our club is awesome, because history going back to 1917 is nothing to turn your nose up about. So I want to get more of our club's history on our webpage and out there to the people. So yeah, just a brief bit of our history here, W0TX.org/history. This is a meeting for all of you. If anybody here has any comments, questions about ham radio, any projects that you're working on, anything you want to bring up, let us know. This hobby covers quite a lot of it. If you have any reports about your field day events or any other events you've been to or done recently, let us know. And we can talk about it. All right. You guys can still hear me, right? I'm not just talking to the void. Let's see.
I can hear you, Jerome.
Okay, no worries. Just making sure.
I just got.
Hey, Mark. No worries. All right.
Question, Daron.
Yeah, Fred, go ahead.
Yeah, what year did you say that electrical experimenter ad was? What year was that?
This is from the October 1916 edition. There is, let me put the link here in the Google Meet chat. It is on our history page.
1916. Okay, thank you.
1916, yeah. So, forerunner to the club. What do we say on our page? Well,
just a comment there concerning that magazine.
Yeah.
Dating way back, I believe it was the electrical experimenters. They really got into some of their projects, and a lot of people were contacting the magazine with more information on some of the basics of radio. And there was a gentleman there who answered everyone's questions that came mailing in, and his first name was Elmer. And I have often wondered if by any chance that the term Elmer originated from that gentleman and his answers and interaction with the radio experimenting community. But his first name was Elmer, and I've always been curious just exactly if he's the one.
Interesting. Yeah, I was looking through. This is a pretty large publication here. It's not really coming up on the PDF here, unfortunately, right at the moment. But this is 80 pages of PDF. Really awesome kind of looking materials. And yeah, looking at their table of contents here, Electric via 1,000 Wonders, Jacques Boyer, let's see, H. Gernsback, Samuel Cohen, Richard Raymond Francis Yates. Yeah, a lot of interesting articles here. Trip through a modern research laboratory. Again, this is dated 1916. Giant spark coil gives 48-inch spark. The feminine wireless amateur. Pretty interesting article here. How the farmer uses electricity. Yeah, that's interesting to hear that. Yeah, this was my first time seeing this magazine, and yeah, it's quite a lot of stuff here. I'm disappointed the PDF's not coming up here, even though I've downloaded it. That's why we move away from PDF. Dang. Yeah, really cool magazine. So, yeah, that was just a little bit of the history. I was just trying to search on Google for anything that I could find related to our club, and that had come up there. So, yeah, it's interesting to hear about the Elmer thing. I'll need to check more into that. PDF. All right, we'll wait for that to come up here. Or let me do it here in a different way.
Somebody we might quiz, and that's Orland. He has in this area been with the radio club for many moons, and it'd be interesting to see if we could get him to tell us a little bit about his past association with the radio club. I think he originally started a club over in the university. I believe it was CU, but the club station there, W0OUI, I believe it was, and he's been was the one who oversaw that university's ham radio station. So I believe a lot of history could be gleaned from Orland.
All right, yeah, I'll need to follow up with him on that. It's awesome to hear. Yeah, very cool. All right.
I don't know if that club station still exists or not.
Sure.
I know the call. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. Sure. Yeah, might not exist still. Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
Well,
Yeah.
This is Jerry. Good evening.
Yeah.
We hold that call, W0UI.
Oh.
We hold that call.
Okay, don't drop it.
No, we won't. And another one we might ask about history stuff is Dave Basinger. He's been around a long time, and he'd be another good one to if you're looking for history stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, W0UI, we hold that call.
Okay. Interesting.
Is that still part of the university? Is there still activity there?
I have no idea. I know it's our call, Denver Radio Club.
Okay.
We hold the call. If you're talking about mines, they've got a radio club, but I don't know how active it is.
Orland's still a part of that, isn't he?
I don't know, to tell you the truth. He still works there occasionally, but just on on-call basis, as far as I know.
I'm sure he's got some stories to tell.
Yes. Very cool. Yeah, talking about Dave Basinger on our YouTube channel. If this chooses to come up under our activities playlist, you will see his bright and shiny face here from a documentary from 16 plus years ago now.
Yeah, he's done a couple very interesting interviews with old-time hams.
Yeah. This is during the Hayman fire, early 2000s. So interesting watch here. So very cool. Yeah. All right, we have another 30 minutes or so. If anybody has any comments, questions, let us know.
I have something nostalgic you might like to look at.
Yeah, John, go ahead.
Sure. I just found this. I put it away some time ago, but I want to get it back out again because, as you know, I've written quite a few articles for QST, so I'm always looking for a new article. But this one was kind of curious because this one is nostalgic. If you can give me screen share.
Oh, yes, of course. Let me stop here. You go right ahead, please.
How do I do screen share? I don't.
How
do I turn
at the
it
bottom, you'll see a little 3 dots, and it's just the icon just to the left of that, a little square with a up arrow.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Your entire screen. Share your screen. Edge wants to share the contents of your screen. I still don't see how it's working. Okay, I see the 3 dots at the bottom.
And then you click, so the other one, the little icon to the left of that little rectangle with up arrow, if you click that, you should then have an option for your entire screen.
Present now, and it says present your entire screen.
You
That
can
the
select
one?
that. Or go ahead. If it's a specific window, you can select that. Otherwise, if you select entire, if you have two screens, it might be easier either way though.
For some reason, it's coming up with in a small window rather than the whole screen. Do you see it?
No, not yet. So what that is probably like the preview. You should hopefully have an option for allow or something like that.
Share.
There we go.
There it
coming up.
is. Okay.
Let me move
Why
my
is
stuff
it-
off of there.
why-
And
why
now,
isn't
so
it-
yeah. So yeah, we see the Google Meet window. So if you bring up whatever you want to bring up, it should hopefully come up here.
Are you seeing my desktop?
Yes, we are. Yep, exactly. Yep.
Oh, okay. Now, okay. Now I've got to get back to my camera. Maybe I just have to turn off stop sharing. Just do this. Yeah, I have to do this in my local camera. Never
Okay.
mind.
Oh, gotcha. Yep.
Okay, where are you? All right, here I'm back. There I am. All right. I'm going to hold up something here and show it to you.
Yeah, we do see that.
Okay, here we go. Anybody tell me, it's going to take some of you guys that go back a ways. Can anybody tell me what this is? It's a little out of focus, but I think you can
Yeah.
see what it is.
Yeah, some 3-wire analog component. I'm assuming. I don't know what specifically. That's an
If any
interesting shape.
of you go back into experimenting back in the early as the 1950s or 60s, you may recognize this. This is the first experimenter's transistor that ever came out on the experimenter's market, where you could go down to your local radio store and buy one of these. It's the famous Raytheon CK722 germanium transistor. You could buy these down at the local radio store. I used to get on my bicycle and ride over to the local radio store and buy these, and I made all sorts of projects with them. Back in those days, there were very few transistors available to the experimenter community. This was another one. This is a 2N170, a General Electric transistor made by General Electric. This one, of course, is made by Raytheon. These transistors were the earliest of available project transistors that you could buy in the early days of radio experimenting. I remember going to the local drugstore and buying copies of popular electronics and popular mechanics and looking for their little radio articles that they had. And very often in those days, they involved one of these two transistors. And the most common circuit, they came in all sorts of different packages. Here's a CK722, famous transistor, germanium junction transistor. And they came in lots of different packages. And they were quite a lot of money. I think I had to pay out something like $10 for one of these. And back in the late 50s, that was a lot of money for me. But what you often did with them is you often used another device. See if any of you can recognize this device. Anybody recognize it?
That's an odd looking component there.
Well, it's obviously got a ferrite coil in the middle of it, and an adjustment screw on this end, and some terminals down here that you can attach wire to, and a coil up around the gun. This was called a broadcast loop stick. You could buy these for experimenter project to make little transistor radios with a CK722 in one of these. You could actually make a radio. Wasn't that exciting? Now, you might even make an oscillator that might make it up to 0.5 megahertz or something.
Wow.
These were the early days of experimenter radios. In my local town, there was nothing that you could buy any radio stuff. But if I got on my bicycle and rode about 3 or 4 miles, I could ride over to the local town, which was Pasadena, California, where the famous Rose Parade is. And in Pasadena, California, there was a wonderful old radio store. I loved that place, called Dow Radio. It was started by an old ham way back in the 40s sometime. Right after the war, he started it, and he was affectionately known as Pappy Dow. And he ran that store for a long time. And of course, it continued on for years and years and years. Eventually went out of business. But it was an electronic parts store. And it was the place where everybody who was into ham radio, and they had a ham radio section in it for years that sold actual ham radios and microphones and other stuff. That to me place was a wonderland. I loved going over there. Of course, these were still the days of vacuum tubes. And I built most of what I built in those days were all built with vacuum tubes, not with transistors. But when that CK722 came out, I started making all sorts of things with that CK722. Anyway, that's a
Very
little
cool.
bit of nostalgia.
Yeah, it's always good to see that that type
There's
of
a
thing there.
There's a picture of the package it came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Looks like a
there's a
chocolate
web-
bar a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, there it is. Famous transistor, the first experimenters hobbyists transistor that you could buy for $7 or $8 it cost, and that was a lot of money back in the mid 50s. There it is, CK722 Raytheon.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Ah,
I burned up a lot of them too because they wouldn't take much power.
gotcha. Interesting. Wow. Yeah, germanium. Yeah, that's interesting as well. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, we are, well, right now with supply chain shortage, it's a whole nother topic of conversation. But in general, we are definitely at a much better place now for hobbyist electronics and things like that. We have a lot more outlets for these types of things. So, yeah, very cool.
Yeah, the transistor has quite a history.
Yes, yes.
We don't
yes.
normally think about it in the hobbyist market.
No.
That definitely was the hobbyist transistor. That's CK722.
Yeah, very, very cool.
Anyway, I'm going to take a little break here, so I'll be
Sounds
back.
good. Not a problem. Yeah. If anybody else has anything, we have another 20 minutes. Please let us know. All right. Yeah, stick around. We have another 20 minutes until we have our upcoming meeting here. As was just speaking there, John Portune, W6NBC, is going to be giving a presentation on efficient magnetic loop antennas. So, yeah, stick around for that. What else? Again, streaming on youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. Check out that if you want for this evening's learning, our Elmer session, as well as the upcoming meeting. I'm sure I can bring up a few more things, but I'll throw it out to the net because I feel like there's just a little light in the conversation here. But yeah, I'll throw it out to the group here. Anything ham radio related? Any topics? Any questions that you? It helps if I don't leave the meeting. It helps if I don't leave the meeting to continue on a conversation here. Mic off. Okay. Yeah, it helps if I don't leave the meeting. Sorry about that. I've been talking plenty, so if anybody has anything, let us know. Otherwise, I can bring up a few things here. We also talked about the James Webb Space Telescope, a really awesome stuff for them going on here. Let me see if I can bring this up. Let's see. They finally calibrated their optics, and so you can see some pretty cool images. Really, what it means it's such a heady conversation. You know, who knows really what these things mean? I mean, we're going to spend the next 20, 30, 40, 100, 200 years understanding the data we're seeing now. So we're seeing into the deepest places of our cosmos. So really, really cool stuff here for our world in general, our human society in general. So really awesome stuff there. I'll drop that link here in the chat. Got me thinking of what's the difference between an astronaut and a cosmonaut. All politics aside, or go ahead.
One's Russian and the other one's American.
Gotcha. Yeah. So coming from Greek, all of it. Naut, N-A-U-T, is sailor. Astro is star, and cosmo is cosmos, universe. So astronaut is a star sailor, and cosmonaut is a sailor of the universe. So they were reaching a little bit more than we were, but in this geopolitically fraught world, I think we can all understand that ham radio and science brings a lot of people together. So
Who was the first astronaut?
was that Yuri Gagarin?
No, Sputnik.
No. It was a machine. It was a machine.
It was a dog.
Oh,
Sputnik,
a dog.
Sputnik is translated as
Laika.
dog.
Laika.
What?
Laika.
Is the Soviet space dog.
Laika Sputnik?
Yeah. The name of the dog that went up there.
Yeah, her name was
Go ahead.
Laika.
Ah, Laika. She didn't like the ride, I don't think.
Yeah. Yes.
I
very
wouldn't
cool,
be
very cool.
surprised.
Yeah. So interesting world we live in nowadays. So what else? I think I also read a quote by Arthur C. Clarke in terms of where did this go here? There are two possibilities that exist. Either we are alone in the universe or we are not. Both are equally terrifying. So quote there by Arthur C. Clarke. So whether you think there's something else out there or not, either way.
Great
terrifying.
author.
Yes.
2001 Space Odyssey.
Exactly. Very cool stuff there. Today is the 53rd anniversary of the moon landing, I believe. July 20th, 1969 marks the date that astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin undocked the lunar module from the command module Columbia with astronaut Michael Collins remaining in the lunar orbit. Armstrong and Aldrin used the lunar module to touch down on the moon's Sea of Tranquility. So, with the world watching the live transmission, Armstrong emerged from the module, becoming the first person to walk on the moon. Aldrin followed 20 minutes later. Astronauts then spent the next 21 hours collecting moon specimens while Collins kept the module in the orbit. So, pretty interesting anniversaries and times here.
Which one of the astronauts displayed the Galileo effect of that the feather and a rock can fall at the same speed in a vacuum? One of the astronauts did that on one of the moonwalks. Actually dropped a feather on a rock or something.
Where did he find a feather on the moon?
He took it with him. Just for that reason.
I was going to say alien.
Well, in my left hand, I have a feather. In my right hand, a hammer. And I guess one of the reasons we got here today was because of a gentleman named Galileo a long time ago who made a rather significant discovery about falling objects in gravity fields. And we thought that where would be a better place to confirm his findings than on the moon. And so we thought we'd try it here for you. The feather happens to be appropriately a falcon feather for our falcons. And I'll drop the two of them here, and hopefully they'll hit the ground at the same time. How about that?
There we go.
That proves that Mr. Galileo was correct in his findings.
So what astronaut was that?
David Scott.
David Scott.
Let's see what missions was he on. Born 32. Let's see. Gemini 8, Apollo 9, and 15, it looks like. So pretty cool career there. Yeah, very cool stuff there. Let me drop the link. This was from Rocky Mountain PBS. All sorts of interesting things there. Very cool. Yeah, we have another 10 minutes. A lot of cool stuff going on in the world, ham radio and whatnot related. So let us know if you have any comments or questions. Another 10 minutes until our upcoming meeting here. Sure, I have something else here. Let's see. If anybody has anything, let us know. Great blog to always to read, hackaday.com. If you have any, well, if you have interest in any engineering related facets, electrical engineering, computer science, mechanical engineering, all sorts of stuff going on here. Let's see, an article here, a look back at the USSR computer industry from July 16th by Al Williams. So interesting talk about the electronics and things that were going on there. 86, Soviet Union had about 10,000 computers. Same time, the United States had 1.3 million. They launched Sputnik and made many advances in science and mathematics. Why didn't they have more computers? Many dismissed that it was a fanciful propaganda. However, there were some thought that computing would be the future. Sergei Lebedev in Ukraine built a small machine around 1951. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff here. So although there's a lot of, again, geopolitically fraught world, it's interesting to hear and understand the history of what's happened. So I'll throw the article here in the chat here, and you can check that out on your own time.
Hey, Daron.
Yeah, Bill, what's up?
Back in 1990, I was a visiting scientist with the Soviet Academy of Sciences. And we were showing off some data acquisition equipment, and they asked me, how long is your computer going to last? I looked at one of my colleagues and I said, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And the person who asked the question, she responded and said, here in Russia, computers last on the order of months.
Wow. Yeah.
And it was very hard for them to get modern computers, even in 1990. And I knew a lot of scientists who went there who would actually smuggle a computer in there for their Russian colleagues.
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's a whole interesting part of the world. I've seen a YouTuber that goes and visits a lot of part of the former Soviet Union states, and some of the older folks definitely have some affection for those older times because they were at least taken care of, and we're now. Yeah, so it's an interesting world. So yeah, they are pretty adept and pretty interesting people. So yep. Cosmonauts and the astronauts, we have a lot of ham radio stuff shared between the two there. So,
well, they had no trickle down from military technology.
Oh,
yes, like we did. So if it was military technology that could have been trickled down, it was kept secret.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, because us, at least here in this Western country, the United States, we do benefit from 10, 15 years later from technology that the government had once used and is now able to be passed down to civilians. So that's not necessarily surprising to hear, but that's interesting to hear. That might be the reason. Yeah. Wow. Very cool. Yep. Very cool stuff. Yeah, we have another 7 minutes here, everyone. We have 16 people, a little bit quiet here on the meeting, but appreciate everyone being here.
I found one of the books on how to use one of those early transistors.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Wow.
General Electric was in competition with Raytheon in that hobbyist market. Of course, they were all trying to crank out transistors at the time, but they thought that, and they brought out this this little paper, and down there at the bottom is you can barely see it. There's a circuit for a little transistor radio using the loop stick that I showed you and one of their 2N107s, which was their equivalent to the CK722 germanium transistor.
Wow. Very cool documentation there. Love seeing that. Very cool.
I'm going to try to write an article about it, see if I can crank up a little history.
Gotcha. Very cool. All right, what else here? Something you had brought up, John, either last month or the month before, was an article that you had written in the most recent QSD. Hadn't been released at that time, but is released now. Let me drop it here in the chat. Again, for some reason, I'm not sure if it's intentional or not, but ARL, their QST magazine, is available to anyone without a login. So I pasted the link in the chat there. Let me bring it up here on the screen. Article from the August edition here, the Inverted Hen Delta 6-meter antenna by John Portune, W6NBC, and Jim Bailey, W6OEK. So check that out. Updated version of Koji Sugahira's JJ1UMS 1982 6-meter hen antenna. The Hen Delta improves performance and is easy to tune and build. So pretty interesting article here. Check that out.
Yeah, it's getting a lot of email. The antenna was developed back in the 70s, 1970s, a couple of Japanese engineers. It really is a slot antenna. That's what got me into it, a skeleton slot, a vertical skeleton slot that's horizontally polarized, which of course skeletons or slots are almost polarized 90 degrees to their plane due to the way they're fed. And they popularized that antenna. It's been around on the web a lot, the antenna, but it's usually done as a rectangle. I realized that it was much better if I took it and I spread the top out like that and fed it at the bottom in the same parallel antenna or antenna fashion. In other words, skeleton slot feed. And what it did is tended to push all the current to the top of the antenna, to the horizontally polarized portion, and which gave it many advantages. It's a vertical antenna which works very well at ground level. It has the radiation pattern of a vertical, low angle radiation, and yet it's horizontally polarized, which gives it 3 dB noise advantage, plus the fact that it has nearly 6 dB of gain off the side or perpendicular to the antenna. So here you've got a vertical with gain that's horizontally polarized, but low angle radiation. That's why that antenna is catching quite a bit of interest. By the way, if you guys would like to do me a favor, just personally a favor, the ARRL does pay attention to who gets votes for their articles. So in every issue, there's always vote for an article. At the end of the article, you'll find a little box on how to vote, but it's simple. It's just ARRL.org/cover-plaque-poll, P-O-L-L. So if you'll vote for that article, it'd be helpful to me. So anyway, now we're coming up on the witching hour here, I see.
Perfect. Sounds good. Yeah. Looks like you do maybe need to be logged in for that one, which would make a little bit of, that's not going to work. ARL.org/cover/plaque/poll. Yeah, I didn't even realize there was a voting section in there. So
every article has one of those little things at the end of it. They ask you to vote for the article, and if you do, the one that gets the most vote every month gets a nice plaque. I've got 6 of them up on the wall from past articles. Always
All
got
right.
another one.
Gotcha. Sounds good. Cool. Yep. As you mentioned, just a couple more minutes
Give me
here.
a vote if you'd be so kind. It would be helpful.
Yeah, very cool. So yeah, on the articles here, any friends of the club, yeah, don't hesitate to vote on them. It helps get another plaque there. So very cool stuff there. Very cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah, just another couple of minutes here. Appreciate everyone being here. My name is Drone, K1DBC. This has pretty much been the Elmer session. Just a general Q&A about ham radio. Let's see. I don't think I really have anything else here. Yeah, we talked about quite a few things here. I've closed quite a bit, unfortunately. Our website, a lot of upcoming Hamfest volunteer opportunities. Check that stuff out. We talked about EAA Air Venture, some articles in QST. So, yeah, a lot of stuff going on. Don't hesitate to get more involved with the club if you want. You can go from there. So, yeah, let's see. Any last minute things? YouTube.com/Denver Radio Club. If you want to watch this evening's meeting on your smartphone or smart TV, it will be streaming on there. As well as a whole lot of other videos. If you've missed any of our learning nets or weekly nets or Elmer sessions, a lot of stuff on there. Yeah, I guess I'll just take this opportunity just to say thank you, everyone. And I guess I'll throw it over to Jerry Villahauer or anyone else who wants to take it over.
Okay, Jerome. Well, thanks for doing the session there. Always a lot of interesting information. I'm surprised how fast you can bring that stuff up. So that's real good.
Gotcha.
Thanks for doing it.
Yeah.
Just a couple things talk about here. Our field day. That's the main thing right at the moment, and that'll be not
In
field day,
Hamfest?
Hamfest.
Yeah.
I got field day on